Hi everyone, Ellen here, and welcome to Washed in Watercolor. Flowers are just so beautiful, especially when painted in watercolor. In today's video, I will show you how to draw out the flowers using simple lines and then mask out and protect areas that will remain light. I'll also show you how to paint a wet into wet background and then add another watercolor wash layer on top. Finally, I'll give you tips and methods for painting flower petals. Whether you're just relaxing and watching my painting unfold or painting along, I hope you enjoy the whole process. Please remember to like and subscribe since it really helps my channel. Here is a list of colors I'll be using for today's watercolor painting. I'll start with light lines in a simple drawing. I am focusing on the big shape and placement on my paper rather than details. I really like the main flower and bud. Other shapes I may move around or eliminate. Once I'm satisfied with the placement, size, and proportions, I will darken my lines. Keep in mind I am only darkening these for my video. I'll focus on the main three petals in the foreground before moving to the three behind. Some of the edges have little ruffles and some of the tips of the petals curve under. I decided to use my Princeton script brush for applying my masking fluid. I'm using PBO drawing gum along with a soapy solution. Be sure to pre-treat your brush several times while applying the masking. I mask out the top bud and stem, edges of the flower in the background, and light edges of the pink lily in the foreground. I know that some artists like to paint without masking fluid, but for me it's just so convenient and makes putting in a difficult background a bit easier. While my masking is drying, I prep some of my colors for the background. Colors include quinacridone magenta, Winsor orange red shade, Winsor lemon, sap green, perylene green, and Winsor violet. In my opinion, the background is the hardest. It's like walking a tightrope between success and a big bloom or blossom. If you're new to watercolor, you may want to forego the background and just focus on painting the flowers. I'll begin by wetting the paper with clean water. I'm using my Princeton Neptune quill brush, which holds a lot of water. This will ensure an even flow between colors. I'll mix some purple in with my greens and drop the paint into the top right-hand corner. I'll vary the value by making it lighter in areas and also shift the color by adding a bit of yellowy green to the mixture. I'll tilt my paper and mop up any areas where the paint has pooled. I'll pick up some sap green along with some yellow and magenta and paint the distant buds. I want my paint to be drier, so I'm using my rosemary pointed round brush, which doesn't hold as much water. Plus, I'm wiping off any excess water before applying the paint. Using the same method, I'll paint the distant lily. Next, I'll dry my painting. I'll re-wet the surface using a spray bottle. The spray bottle will apply a slightly uneven coat of water. I'll repaint the distant buds and flowers using my brush to swipe or push the paint into the already wet area. My goal is to get a hard and soft edge effect. When I'm satisfied, I'll dry my painting and then remove my masking from the background, bud, and certain areas of the petals. I'll leave the masking on the white edges and stamen for now. I use my Princeton flat 1/4 inch brush to clean up and soften edges. Next, I'll paint the flower bud. Using Windsor Lemon with some cobalt turquoise, I'll paint the bud with a light wash. I'll add some sap and perylene green to darken and form the area. I'll continue down the stem, keeping in mind a light and dark side. Finally, it's time for the main flower. There's a gradation of dark and light values in each petal. I'll start with a bottom petal on the right. I'm using quinacridone magenta with Windsor orange and just a touch of perylene maroon. I'm not pre-wetting the petal. The area is too small for this, but I do have to work quickly so the edges don't dry up. When I'm satisfied, I'll use this technique to the top back petal and then to the bottom right petal. There was a bit of a glitch with the fourth petal, but using the same method, I painted the top left petal and now I'll paint the bottom left. Using quinacridone magenta and Windsor orange, I'll paint in the dark center and to the right hand side where the petal folds over. I'll then join the two areas with water. And quick is the word. Making sure that everything is dry, I'll paint the final petal in the exact same way. I'll add a bit more color and darken areas with Winsor Violet. Let's dry it again and remove the masking on the edges. I soften and clean up areas using my 1/4 inch Princeton flat brush. I rotate my painting to make my job easier. Finally, I'll add the little red spots or papillae on each petal. I continue to darken areas of each petal to form a nice curl, and then I'll add a little character to the edges. Can you believe I'm going over the flower with another wash? I just want to punch up the color. Okay, we're almost there. I'll just add a few more stems. Finally, I've removed the masking from the stamen, and with my thinnest brush, I carefully fill it in with Winsor lemon and some sap green. Using mostly Windsor Violet with a little bit of quinacridone and perylene maroon, I will strengthen the shadows underneath. I'm really happy with how this came out, and I'm especially pleased with the background, which to me was the most difficult part. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial and maybe painted along. Thank you so much for watching.